All right, and Merry Christmas to everybody. I thought I'll do a little video here before New Year's Eve, where I talk about the situation. As I have said so many other times before, the program's propaganda. There are really only 4 subjects that just gets repeated endlessly on a loop. The subjects and the narratives may change on the surface, but is generally speaking always the same 4 subjects, which is sex, crime allegations, sex, porn and sexuality. Then there's piss, shit and farts, and then there are all the arbitrary rules and regulations that are made up and dictated by the state arbiters of the program and broadcasted over the program's communication systems for the people to follow. And recently they have been harping on subject 1 and 2, and in regards to their sex crime allegations now, because there isn't any paperwork on me supposedly, is because I committed all of these sex crimes before I was 15 years old. And in this regard I have just made a video in Danish where I highlight and I also publicise the records from my institutionalization on Sun Garden, which I was institutionalized to when I was 16, as my mum gave her custody over to this institution. And therefore there was lots of records on me before I was legal in this period of time where they claim I have committed all of these sex crimes. And I have just shown in these records, which I will also link to here, obviously they're in Danish, proving there aren't any sex crime or anything remotely in relation to sex abuse or anything on neglect of these kinds in any way, shape or form. So I have just disproven their allegations again, and they are literally scraping the barrel just to give the impression that I'm some kind of a crazed sex maniac. And of course they are always, as they always are doing, when they can't successfully label me guilty for being a sex criminal, then they're going back to their sex, porn and sexuality. In this regard they're just harping or using what I have already told people about my previous experiences, and then they're just building upon that and just making a narrative out of this supposedly being here and now instead of what it actually is. And I'm not really going to get into my porn habits or whatever, because there's literally nothing to talk about. But generally speaking, they are just building upon what I have already said and making their own narratives as a pretext on what I have said. So what is going to happen here in the new year is going to be interesting, because the year 2022 has been extremely hard, and they have been coming after me with everything they got. And the only reason that I'm able to make this video to you now is because I have made these videos so regularly, and I'm just speaking truth to power, and they don't want to make me into a martyr without having enough people to really believe that I'm this crazed sex criminal. But despite all their claims, there's never been any actual cases in all of these years that this program has been going on. They are just literally labeling me guilty for the most despicable things, so they can get away with their social and political persecution of me, Stephen Bell. And this will definitely continue in year 2023. But obviously things are getting very obvious, and that is also why they are being so frantic with their use of the synthetic telepathy communication system. Every time I'm out and about, they are literally harassing and everybody in the vicinity of me, and they are literally telling people to blame me for what which everybody knows it's the government who is communicating to the people around me. But because the people around me, they are in an impossible situation as well, because the government is not going to stop unless somebody really does something to change it, which nobody is obviously going to do because of the immense threat that people can see that the government can lay to bear on anybody. And so the government, they want to use this fear and use this frustration to have everybody take out their frustrations and anger on towards me for these communications that are being broadcasted on a daily basis, in combination with these virtual movie fabrications that are also being broadcasted at least once a day, typically when I'm sleeping or trying to sleep, where they literally create virtual movie fabrications which are being broadcasted to people all over the world, in which is being proclaimed that these are my past memories, and if it's not my past memories, then it's some kind of a prediction of what I'm going to do in the future, kind of a completely outlandish, but nonetheless this is one of the things that they say. And other than that, they say these are my intentions or these are my dreams, while in reality it's just the state creating the very pretext for their own existence through these technological capabilities that they are abusing all the time in regards to the program. And literally they're not only responsible for creating all of these propaganda virtual movies and narratives and endless talk radio, but they are also utterly responsible for broadcasting them all over the world. I have no part in them whatsoever, despite they're obviously using what I say and what I do to some extent as building blocks in their propaganda. After all, we are talking about intelligence agencies, and they are obviously smart, and they have all the technological capabilities at their beck in hand, and they have all the resources in the world. And me here in Denmark, I'm literally being denied almost everything that I could use to defend myself adequately in this regard. And this is obviously per design, because they don't want me to put up such a fight that I'm doing.